homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Welcome back, my young friends. Today we're looking at the topic of stream entry in relation to the gradual teachings, and it's a topic that will come back time and again as we go through Buddha's gradual teaching series. Now today's topic is on generosity as a factor of stream entry, so it's a bit of a bonus session after talking about dānakathaṁ, the instructions on giving. And there's this one sutta that we should go through, which is to say what is stream entry. And it's the Dutiyasāriputta Sutta. It's in Sangyutta Nikaya, chapter 55, discourse number 5. Now, if you're interested in what the Buddha taught about stream entry, there's this chapter in Sangyutta Nikaya, and it's chapter 55. So that's the one where it has lots of different suttas on that. But of course, there are other suttas in other parts of the Anathapindika as well. Now, in this particular sutta, Venerable Sariputta and Buddha are having a little dialogue, and the Buddha asks Venerable Sariputta a series of questions, and two of those questions are this. Buddha says, Sariputta, they speak of the stream, Sutta. What is the stream? And then Venerable Sariputta answers, Sir, the stream is simply this noble eightfold path. That is right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And then the Buddha goes, good, Sariputta, and repeats the same thing. And then he asks another question. He says, Sariputta, they speak of a stream enterer, Sotapanna. What is a stream enterer? And so Venerable Sariputta answers, Sir, anyone who possesses this noble eightfold path is called a stream enterer, the venerable of such and such name and clan. And then Buddha goes, good, Sariputta, and repeats the same thing. So what's interesting about this is when we go through this series on anupubbikatha, so Buddha's gradual teachings or instructions, we will get to the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the last talk or talks that will look at the Four Noble Truths. We know that the Noble Eightfold Path is the fourth Noble Truth, the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So we will look at that. But what's interesting about dānakathaṁ is that when you look at the Buddha's teachings on stream entry, generosity, giving, not being stingy is something that is seen as one of the factors leading to stream entry. And we're going to look at that just briefly. And also when we look at sīla-kathā, which is our next main session or module, again, when we look at sīla-kathā, it is leading to the eventual development of ārya-kanta sīla, which is again another factor of stream entry that the Buddha talks about. So we'll look at that in a separate thing when we go through sīla-kathā. So really, what we've learned in dānakathaṁ, these instructions on giving, is very, very helpful. So it's something that needs to be, borne in mind. And when you hear about people talking about stream entry, we want to know why it's important. So we're going to look at that next. If we go to the Nakhasikhā Sutta, which is in Sangyutta Nikaya, chapter 13, discourse number 1, this is where we learn one of the answers that the Buddha gives in terms of why we want to enter the stream. So the Buddha picks up a little bit of dirt under his fingernail, and he looks to the Sangha and he says, what do you think, which is more, the little bit of dirt under my fingernail or this great earth? And then they answer him, the great earth is far more. The little bit of dirt under your fingernail is tiny. Compared to the great earth, it's not nearly 100th, 1,000th, or 100,000th part. And then the Buddha goes on and confirms, in the same way, for a noble disciple, accomplished in view, a person with comprehension, so it means you have wisdom, you have the right view. The suffering that's over and done with is more. What's left is tiny. Compared to the massive suffering in the past that's over and done with, it's not nearly 100th, 1,000th, or 100,000th part, since there are at most 7 more lives. That's how very beneficial it is to comprehend the teaching, the Dhamma, and gain the eye of the Dhamma. So what the Buddha is saying here is, when you enter the stream, and there are a number of factors leading towards stream entry, and you gain certain wisdom towards Buddha's Dhamma, then what happens is you only have 7 more lives. at a maximum. So it could be less than that, depending on how much you develop, how much path and fruit you develop. But the maximum is 7. So he compares that 7 to the countless lives if you hadn't entered the stream. And as a result of countless lives in samsara, that means immeasurable dukkha, a dukkha far greater than the dukkha of 7 remaining lives. So that's why it's important, because if we don't train on the Buddha's path, then we are almost like allowing ourselves to continue in dukkha, in suffering, in pain. Now, often we can't fathom how great that can be, but it's really important to think about dukkha as in, if you experience something that is painful. So for example, if you're in school and you have to studying, there's a certain amount of dukkha. Sometimes it's only a little because we understand what we're studying, but most of the time there is dukkha because of the pressure. We have exams, you have assignments, you have things that you can't understand, and dukkha arises when we can't understand, and in those other circumstances. Also when we have problems with relationships, we don't get along with certain people, or we have difficulty at times with our parents or our brothers or sisters, these things do happen, and so there's dukkha that we experience. So any kind of dukkha that you experience from that, or even when you want something but you can't get it, a bit like when we've been in restrictions and you can't even go out, that is dukkha as well, and not being able to do what you want. So if you have a moment of just thinking about that dukkha and you multiply it to maybe even infinity, or maybe if you multiply it just as big as you can even comprehend, now that is what Buddha is talking about. He's saying that the amount that you extinguish or remove when you enter the stream is that type of dukkha that you can't even imagine. And so what you're left with is just 7 lives filled with dukkha. So that's the importance. So that's one of the key things to know about why stream entry is important. Let's now look at the 4 factors of stream entry, or at least one set of them. And the Buddha in this particular sutta, the Anathapindika Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 55, discourse number 6, he meets with 2 chamberlains. So these are 2 individuals called Isiddhata and Purana, who work for King Pasenadi of Kosala. They look after his elephants and basically all things to do with guarding the elephants, preparing the elephants, and accompanying when these elephants go out with the king or the ladies of the court. So the Buddha actually gives a little teaching to these 2 chamberlains, and he talks about the 4 factors of stream entry in this particular way. The Buddha says, a noble disciple who has 4 things is a stream enterer, not liable to be reborn in the underworld, bound for awakening. What for? It's when a noble disciple has confirmed confidence in the Buddha, confirmed confidence in the Dhamma, confirmed confidence in the Sangha, and the 4th one that we're interested very much in looking at is they live at home rid of the stain of stinginess, freely generous, open-handed, loving to let go, committed to charity, loving to give and to share. So this falls in line with what we were learning in dānakathaṁ. So it's good to know when we do the meditation for Vattupammā Sutta that we're cleaning, purifying the mind of the mental stain of stinginess. This helps us in terms of building up the qualities that are factors of stream entry. Same when we go through the teaching of dānakathaṁ, we're really trying to embody and manifest the quality, the way of living that leads to stream entry. So it's a very, very important thing. Now, when it comes to being able to look at what the Buddha says about confirmed confidence in the Buddha, then it's clearly about knowing that the Buddha is an arahant, a perfectly enlightened one, accomplished in true knowledge and conduct, very fortunate, knower of the world, unsurpassed leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of devas and humans, the enlightened one and the blessed one. So when you have that conviction, the saddha towards the Buddha, then this is something that's also a factor of the stream entry. And then the second one is about the Dhamma, that it's well explained by the Buddha. It's directly visible, that when we look at the teachings of the Buddha, we can directly access them and apply our own examples. It's immediate that we can see it when we contemplate it ourselves. And Buddha is inviting us to come and see. And it's to be experienced by people who are wise. So as we learn the Buddha's teachings, we're becoming more wise. And then when it comes to the Sangha, this is really about the disciples of the Buddha and those that are practicing in the good way, the straight way, the true way, and proper way. And so it includes the stream enterers, the once returners, the non-returners, and the arahants. So those that have path and fruit of each. So that's what Buddha refers to as the 4 pairs, the 8 types of individuals. So these are the blessed ones, disciples, who become worthy of gifts, worthy of offerings, and worthy of respect. And so they become the field of merit, that you can make merit by making offerings to them. And so that's what that means. When you understand that, you know that what we are developing is actually really important, because we can end that great, big, vast amount of dukkha and only be left with just a little bit when we enter the stream. The story that comes with Anathapindika and how he enters the stream is actually an interesting one and quite relevant to us, because the night before he met the Buddha, he was actually really excited. He couldn't sleep, and I think he woke up 3 times in the night. And eventually he got up, and it was quite early, and he decided to walk to the monastery. And along the way he had certain troubles, and he almost felt like turning back a few times, but eventually he met the Buddha. And the teaching that the Buddha gave was actually this anupubbikatha, this gradual teaching, beginning with dānakathaṁ, sīlakatha, saggakatha, and on, what we're looking at in this series. And when Anathapindika's mind was purified and uplifted, that's when he taught the 4 Noble Truths. So this is the same path that we are following. So when it comes to stream entry, in this series that we're looking at, there are a number of things that we are developing, but we also have the opportunity, just like Anathapindika, to actually enter the stream. So it's something to bear in mind, that this is the same way that householder Anathapindika trod the path of learning. And there are other lay people. When you read the chapter on stream entry, chapter 55 of the Samyutta Nikaya, so the linked discourses, you see the exact same thing, that there are lots of lay people in different paths that have come to the Buddha, and Buddha gives them certain teachings, whether it's the gradual teachings or whether it's about the factors of stream entry, such as what we went through. And there are another set of factors of stream entry that include Aryakantha Sila, which is the Sila that is dear to the noble ones. So we're going to come to that as well. But it's just really interesting to know that as lay people, young lay people and older lay people, it's all the same. It's like if we follow these teachings, then we pick up the good qualities and the things that Buddha says that will help us to lean towards Nibbana, basically. So if we just summarize a little bit, we've gone through the first talk on giving, and we've realized that there are qualities in learning about giving, in learning about generosity, in removing the blocks like stinginess. Then we are actually cultivating something towards stream entry. And as we go along, our next main session will be the talk on virtue, so sīlakatha. We're also doing the same thing, and so we'll touch on that again when we talk about sīla, virtue. And then we keep talking through the heavens, the dangers of sensual pleasures, blessings of renunciation, and then eventually, once our minds are uplifted, we'll talk about the 4 Noble Truths. So this particular formula is something that Anathapindika went through, and other lay people have also gone through. So it's a series of teachings that helps us to lift the mind, but also to enter the stream, or at least do some work towards entering the stream. So it's a really wholesome thing that we're doing as part of learning together in this way. So we can end the session here. Let's share the merit with all sentient beings from this short little session. May all beings be happy and well. May all beings be free from suffering. Blessings of the Triple Gem, wishing you well. Teruan Saranai.